Ooh, Mark, what you doing today?
Today we're doing a little crab, shrimp, and corn bisque.
Ooh.
So right now I'm just prepping a few vegetables, little seasonings, celery, onion. We got our shallot here, a little garlic, and then the corn, and we'll pull out the crab and everything else once we, get started.
So I see you have a couple of things on the stove already. What is this?
So it's a shrimp stock with the leftover shrimp shells, right? Some celery, black pepper, a little bay leaf, a little bit of salt. And we're just gonna let it simmer on low for about 30 or so minutes.
And we're gonna put that in the bisque?
And we're gonna put that in the bisque. Yes, we are. That's gonna be part of our flavor profile. Gonna keep it real nice and flavorful so we don't have to add much salt or anything else or season it up. Kind of builds the flavor profile as you go.
That smells good.
And we ain't even really get started yet.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So am I. Let's get started.
Is this something that you cook often, or it's like a special type of meal?
It's not very often. It's for a client, actually.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're cooking for a client, so you get to, it's a 2-for-1, right?
Amen.
You get to cook, we get paid, and we get content. Hey,
Love that for us. So
sustainability.
So where did you get the idea, to cook this for this client? I mean, I don't think this is like a typical LA meal, right?
No, it's surely not. So that's why I cooked it, because it's not a typical LA meal at all. That's the best part about it. But no, this client is doesn't eat red meats. It's trying to transition toward that more pescatarian and eventually, I guess, vegetarian and vegan lifestyle.
So LA.
So I'm very LA. So I'm trying to, incorporate that into it, but still keep it uniquely my own, and then also show them something that they probably don't come across very often.
So Mark, what are your thoughts on this whole debate about the whole unemployment $600 thing?
I think the debate is ridiculous. They're upset with the girls who got $600 unemployment. They're upset with people who getting loans. Why is y'all counting other people's pockets? Like, why are you not out here hustling trying to get you something? Because you don't want nothing. That's why. You don't want nothing, and you don't want other people to want nothing either.
Sad.
That's sad. Y'all just going out sad. Y'all just hate us by birth. I don't understand. Hate us by birth.
Hate us by birth. Oh, mad over a little $600. They ain't gonna do nothing for us.
$600 for people who lost their jobs. A person lost their job getting 6, 12, 18, 24 before tax. Rent $1,500. People making more than me. Well, bitch, you working 40+ hours and you ain't bringing home $600 a week. Then you need to ask yourself some questions.
All right, Mark, what's that?
This is a shallot.
Okay, because it's wrapped like a garlic, but is it a garlic?
No, it's not. Shallot is a part of the onion family. It's a milder, sweeter cousin, yeah. It's good for a lot of things. A lot of recipes call for a shallot, but in particular, this one, because of the sweetness and the mildness in it, it'll add to the bisque. It won't be as strong and harsh as let's say a white onion or a red onion. And I use a lot of shallots in like vinaigrettes and things like that.
Okay.
I try to do my best to cut it as nice and uniform as possible, so it's visually appealing. And you also don't want to have big chunks,
because they cook unevenly, right? They cook unevenly when
it'll cook uneven, and you have some that'll burn before the other one can actually soften. You're stressed out. And it's always good to prep everything. That's the #1 thing about cooking, especially for people who are like intimidated by cooking. Prep your food. That way when you're cooking, especially if you're following a recipe, it's just kind of like adding, at that point it's just adding ingredients and timing. But if you're trying to cut an onion while something's sauteing and now it's burning and you ain't
doing too much. You're too many
places at once. Yeah. Stay in your lane. That's the goal. That's the thing. Stay in your lane. I know this is LA, but stay in your lane.
You won't be by me so bad.
Look, you won't by me so bad. This is ridiculous. All this space. That's one thing about time, honey.
You don't stop.
Oh, she just moves, especially when you
when you need her to slow down.
You need her to slow down. Shit, she like, oh, me? Bitch, you thought I was.
So are we gonna keep this corn on the cob, or how is this gonna work?
So I'm gonna take the corn off the cob. I'm gonna shuck it
Yes.
Yeah, shucking corn, shucking and frying. Yeah, shucking and frying. Shout out to Phaedra, her mother, for that. Shucking and frying. Some people just do. I just try to go down, get the baby corn off the. Some people be doing all type of special things, try to boil and blanch, and they doing it.
Too much work, huh?
Too much work.
It's that
I'm gonna
simple.
just cut the sucking corn off the cob. Cut this corn right on off.
Random, but I really love corn. I think it may be my favorite vegetable. Holds no nutritional value, right? Holds not really any nutritional value.
You know, no, because we don't digest corn really. Well, not this version. This is yellow corn is a very much a GMO, genetically modified organism, and I know that term kind of scares a lot of people. They think of like chemically altered and things like that, but what genetically modified just simply means is I modified your genes. The earliest form of modifying genes is like Mendelian like inheritance or genetics, like crossing the pea plants, little p, big P. That's so basically they took little p, big P corn thousands of years ago and said, which one survives the longest? These two breeds, breed them together, you get this yellowish corn, and they started planting that over and over and over again. So that's the term genetically modified. This is not what, corn thousands of years ago looked like. The one that probably had a little bit more
Nutritional value.
But it's caloric. So it adds to your caloric intake, right? It fills you up.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why when people ask for like beef or anything, for chickens and stuff, they want grass-fed beef, not corn-fed beef, because you want a cow that was fed grass that has nutritional value, so that cow's meat and its cells are nutritionally dense. They're not full of corn, which isn't nutritionally dense at all. See the food chain.
Mark, you seem to know a lot about all this stuff.
I do, because I studied biology in undergrad, right?
Oh,
So I understand.
yes.
Yeah, and then I went on to get my master's in public health, which I just finished this summer.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So I understand sort of food and nutrition from both a very minute, specific scientific standpoint in terms of like food science, but then I understand nutrition because I cook and I'm a chef and understanding culinary, expertise, but then the larger sort of issues around food production and hunger and why we genetically modify foods to make it largely available is a public health thing. Snaps for the educated girls.
Yes, girl.
Yeah,
You're getting a lesson.
The girls who went to school on TV. How about that on the show?
The garlic?
Being here loving on yourself. That's all good
self-care.
food. This is self-care 101. Self-care, self-love. You always get your little bottle.
What's that?
This is Sauvignon Blanc. It's a white wine. I cook with wine. Sometimes I put it in the food. Add a little white wine just to, zhuzh it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That's that term, zhuzh.
Zhuzh.
Take something regular and just put a little something extra on top.
Put a little razzle dazzle.
Yeah, for all you people who, cook, from the box still, box macaroni, box whatever, you adding seasonings and doing all that, that's called zhuzhing it up. You know what I'm saying? That's how I got my start, back in the day when I was a teenager cooking from the box.
Right. But, if you subscribe to Rap Roux, which you should do right now.
Actually.
You're gonna, grow from doing that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're gonna grow from doing that. Or you can keep doing it. You just learn to do it better.
Hey. And this is yellow onion?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the different types of onions?
As far as
why wouldn't you use a white onion for this?
Like I said, the yellow onion, the sweet onion particularly for its sweetness. Sweet onions are good for a lot of things, like onion rings, all that. I wouldn't use a white one because, like I said, it'll be a little bit more harsh. A little bit more oniony, stronger and more pungent, or have that more of an effect. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I needed a milder sort of onion, not as strong. But I still wanted that onion flavor.
All right, Mark. So we've prepared all of the ingredients.
We all prepped up. Here we go. So we're gonna start off with a little onion, a little celery.
And that's butter in there, right?
So melt a little butter, about 3 tablespoons of it. We'll toss our onion in there, toss our celery. A little corn got in, but that's fine. You just start off with onion and celery first because they are a little larger than garlic. They cook a little slower in the shallot, right?
Onion family, right? Yes, we learned.
Slower than garlic, and you don't want the garlic in there burning while this is cooking, so we'll just start shifting her around. I'm gonna go ahead and add the garlic in there. Yeah, and then garlic doesn't take long. It's probably be about a minute. Once the smell starts coming up, it gets fragrant very quickly. So
that's when you know you're done?
That's when you know you're done. Go ahead and add the corn in there. Let's see how much is enough. Yeah, I can go ahead and do it all.
So good. I want to eat that off the pot.
See, we're building flavors. You could eat this out the pot. You already got butter, you got onion, you got celery.
That's a side dish right there.
Boom. Salt it real quick. Where's my salt?
We ain't afraid of seasonings in this household, right?
Go ahead and season it up. This is about a teaspoon and a half of salt, and that's just the beginning. Right. Yeah, there's multiple stages. Salt at multiple stages. You don't want to try to season the whole base, and then because then you can't take anything out. You can always add. You can't take much out. So that goes with anything, water, anything. You can always add. This is gonna be a secret kind of ingredient right here. We have a little crawfish or crab ball. If you have the liquid, form, you can. I don't really use the Zatarans. I like the Louisiana brand.
I agree.
It's less salt. But if you have the liquid form, that's good too. I'm gonna put about a little bit over a tablespoon, a little bit over a teaspoon in there. Okay. So it kind of looks like that. Yeah.
Scrumptious.
Okay, so then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in a little stock. You ready? It's a little bit over a cup and a half. So now I'm gonna add my shrimp in here. After the shrimp is in there, bring the heat back up. I'm gonna lightly season it, just lightly, because I know I still have my crab ball and I haven't tasted anything yet. But I'm gonna go about a little bit over a teaspoon of Cajun seasoning.
And is Tony Chachere's your favorite brand?
Yeah, it's like my go-to. There's other brands that are available. I do little Tony's. I'll do some black pepper. Garlic powder. And thyme for now. Boom, that's enough. Let her come to stir it up and let it come to a nice little boil here. I'll put it on medium heat. Let the shrimp start cooking, doing their thing. And in the meantime, we're gonna make a roux on Rap Roux.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're gonna make
the namesake.
We're gonna make us a roux.
All right, so Mark, I know you're tired of explaining what a roux is, but one more time, just for the YouTube channel.
Yeah, a roux is basically an emulsion of fat and flour. So oil is any type of cooking oil, typically with a higher smoke point. So I use vegetable oil, canola oils. I may even add a little butter into my roux too. to get it started. But they're basically an emulsion of oils and fats that creates like a thickening agent. That's the basis of most stews, gumbos, anything you make typically in Creole and Cajun cooking. And then, you know, it's used outside of that too.
A solid base. Rap and roux.
Hello, right? Hello, you get it? You get it?
I see the
So
vision.
you want to get your pan real hot there. And get your little oil. Some people use equal parts, whatever. For right now, we're making what's called a blonde roux. And that's just a term for a lighter roux. Roux, typically you let them go till they get very dark, like a rich, nutty peanut butter or even like chocolatey color, depending on if you're making gumbo and stuff. I don't always go as far as dark chocolate, and then you find some gumbos that are very dark in nature, and I don't really care for those. And I don't really care for those gumbos that be red either. So I get, but I get it somewhere in the middle. But this is gonna be a blonde roux, so she's gonna be very white. Very white. Yes. So we got our oil going in there, heating up, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and toss a little bit more oil. This is oil plus a little fat because it's butter, it's milk fats in there. Let that go in the oil. Right. Let that melt around, melt that butter up. And basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna slowly whisk in some flour. And like I said, equal parts. So if you did 1 cup of oil, you would use 1 cup of flour. And so forth, so forth. Yeah. And you can just go a little bit more, a little bit less for your desired consistency, texture, whatever. So I'll show you. You just want to slowly start to whisk it in.
And so the longer that you keep it on, the darker it'll get, correct?
The longer you keep it on, the longer you stir, the darker it'll get, because eventually things will start to brown.
And you have to constantly keep stirring it, correct?
You want to keep stirring it. You want to keep going. Like the most I'll let it go is maybe 5 to 6 seconds, 10 seconds without me stirring it, because the flour will start to burn. And you don't want it to burn, because then you'll have that scorchy, burnt, smoky taste in your food, and it will be everywhere.
Yeah, ruin the flavor profiles, right?
Sure will. It sure will. And don't be scared to take it off the heat a little bit. If it's getting out of control, take it off the heat, get it going, and then go back. This is gonna be a blonde roux. She's not gonna be
super dark.
She's gonna be just enough to kind of cook off that flour, that taste of flour. I know some people will start making a gumbo from this. Don't do that.
Here for the gumbo,
just a little bit darker. Just go, keep going. Like I said, a little bit past peanut. You know, you're gonna know what it look like. When she can't pass the brown paper bag test no more, and she gotta go to the back of the bus, she's good to go. She's good to go. Oh. Shout out to Rosa Parks.
Yes, my girl.
Speaking of civil rights giants, you know, it saddens us to hear about the passing of the late, great Reverend John Lewis.
Yeah, you went to Morehouse, right? So
I sure did.
So he was a pretty prominent figure at that school, correct?
Yeah, he's a pretty prominent figure in America in general, but on top of that, you know, going to Morehouse, being that he was so very much intertwined with the civil rights movement, in particular with Martin Luther King Jr., who was a Morehouse man. John Lewis means a whole lot to Morehouse College. So I think that's about good. I'm gonna just take her off the heat and let her sit to the side until we're ready for her, right? He did a lot of speaking engagements at Morehouse. He visited the campus a whole lot. So I've been fortunate enough to be in sort of intimate spaces with the Honorable John Lewis.
That's amazing.
And learn sort of his personal experience with fighting for equal rights and social justice, particularly here in America. And then, you know, his experiences abroad and how he's sort of developed a worldview of this particular issue, right? So it's sad to see him go, but one thing I do know, and then that we're very much well equipped to keep the work going, and that he has definitely passed the torch to some very strong leaders And I'm very fortunate to have known him. I'm very fortunate to be inspired by him as well.
Amen.
Got some nice blonde. Well, she's thin. She's a little thin. Let me see. I might actually thicken her up just a little bit. A little thin.
Right, you can always add.
Yeah, you can all, like I said. Just a little thin, so I might just thicken her up. Just a little. See, like that? That's what I want. I want that. Check on this, see how it's doing. So our shrimp cooking up, corn cooking up, everything looking good, smelling good. Ooh. And this is just the begin. This is just the juice. Go for it. Let's take that juice.
It's tasty.
So first we're gonna add about 2 cups of whipping cream, and then I add a cup of milk. So just slowly stirring the cream. I'm just creaming up, right? We'll go ahead and we'll do a little Worcestershire sauce. Boom, just a little bit to get it going. And we'll also add a nice acid or hot sauce. Yeah, it's acidic, it's vinegar.
And what will that do as far as the chemistry goes?
Tenderizes the meats in there and also adds that little acidic touch to it for your taste buds. Just a couple drops. Yeah, so we got that going. She's going good, doing good. So now I'm gonna slowly start to add my roux.
Your blonde roux.
Now use my roux spoon. She's a little bit darker than blonde and hazelnut, but still good. She won't change the color of my bisque here. Raise the thing just a little bit till you bring it to a nice boil. And I'll just slowly get her in there. Oh, I'm going to stir it up. And then what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna add my crab meat here and there.
Is there a reason you decided to add the crab meat last?
Because it doesn't take as long to cook, and I don't want the lumps to fully fall apart and just have it just be loosely. And then I want them to still have a little hold on each other. I'm to add the crab in. Don't you look good?
We love lump crab meat.
We love lump crab meat, shrimp, corn.
All of that.
And frying.
Shucking and frying.
They don't know nothing about us, baby. Nothing. Okay. So that's in a good spot. We're gonna just put the top on her. Let her do her thing for another about 10 minutes or so on medium to low. And that's it.
Boom.
Boom.
A meal like that.
Boop, that is. That's what I'm saying. Whoop, that is.
So Mark, we talked about the roux part of Rap Roux. What is the rap refer to?
So rap really refers to music in general, in particular hip hop, because that being one of my favorite genres. I think that I know that there's a very intricate connection between food and music, being that they're both sort of foundational aspects of our culture, particularly Black American culture here. Rap, hip-hop music, all the music that have sort of spun out of our experiences here, starting back at the blues and everything, and making its way forward to hip-hop and rap. So that's what it stands for, and I intricately blend the two as I'm cooking and listening to music. I think it adds to the experience of cooking the food, and I think it also adds to the taste and that the people have too. Because when I'm in here and I'm jamming to my best jams, I do my best work. and it shows in my food, and it shows in the way that people review the food as well. And it's my hopes that I will take this into a sort of larger sort of audience and, you know, make an impact with how people can blend those two things to provoke change, particularly around the way we eat and the way we approach food in our community.
Oh, wow, Mark. Okay, so I totally get the whole inspiration behind the name Rap Roux. It's really ambitious. So, does that also mean we'll be receiving a playlist as well with this meal?
Yes, you will. You will have a playlist for a meal. Most of my recipes and developments come with a nice little song or two, a little bop or two, but you will get a playlist with this whole meal, so that way when you're going and you're creating your crab and shrimp and corn bisque at home, you could jam to some of the same things. You could get in that mood and you can get it moving.
And it'd be just as good as yours, correct?
If you follow the directions.
Well, I know I'm excited to hear it, and I'm excited to taste.
Amen.
Okay, so Mark, it's done?
So yeah, we're good to go. She's down. You see her creamy, biscuity. Got our corn, crab. Our crab is still intact pretty much. Lumpy, yup. So go ahead and grab a little shrimp, a little crab. Fix up a bowl. Yeah. You know, I'm not a big old eater. Surprisingly, like I eat a lot, but I don't eat big portions when I do eat, because I get full fast. So I go like that, top it up with a little shrimp. Take it over here, and I'll garnish it up for you with a little chive. So first, we have some chives here. I'm gonna just
This is for garnish, right? It's all about the plating, right?
Yeah, it's all about the presentation. Well, it's about the presentation, not all about. It's about the food being good and actually tasting great, having good flavor, being cooked to a great consistency. But the plating is the icing on top of the cake. Yeah, because some people will plate the hell out of your food and it will taste like nothing. So
shade.
No shade, just tea. Just tea, just facts. Just facts. Just facts.
It looks so good, Mark.
Boom, and there you go. Crab and corn and shrimp bisque.
Dinner is served.
Dig in.
Rap Roux style.
Hey.
Well, Mark, what do you have to say?
Amen. Shit, dig in. That's all I got for y'all. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned a lot. I hope that you have been entertained. I hope you jammed out. And I hope you go ahead and recreate this meal. And if you follow the recipe that we will provide for you, go ahead and tag Rap Roux.
Amen.
Let's get this thing started.
How is it?
It's so good. It's so good, Bert. Yeah, this is it. Please subscribe to Rap Roux on YouTube, and also follow us on Instagram and Facebook, and like the playlist on Spotify. And please comment on the video about whether you like the recipe or not. Was it easy to follow? Thank you. So type of shit. That's some shitty bitches I ain't watching them. No. Shit, I'm trying to learn it. They all here talking about me. I caught that shit.